It's not easy being green, having to spend each day.
Jim Henson's involvement in puppeteering made way for new ideas that revolutionized the art. His leadership, not only as the head and creator of the Jim Henson Company and the Creature Shop, a special visual effects company, but also the film director, greatly enhanced all the projects he worked on, and even many projects after he was gone. His work on The Muppets, Sesame Street, Fraggle Rock, The Labyrinth, and so much more inspired others to continue his work.
Being green seems you blend in with so many other ordinary things.
Kermit the Frog was Jim Henson's alter ego. He often expressed his deepest feelings through the character. Henson, very much like the frog, was often the calm leader while all insanity was happening around him. He was the kind of person who brought everyone together. In the original Muppet movie, Kermit talks to Miss Piggy and says, "Yeah, well, I've got a dream too, but it's about singing and dancing and making people happy. That's the kind of dream that gets better the more people you share it with. And well, I found a whole bunch of friends who have the same dream, and it kind of makes us like a family." Henson always wanted to make a difference through his art. At the time, he had no idea how much he would change the future of entertainment. Bert Tillstrom, the creator of Kukla, Fran and Ali, is credited by Henson as being a huge influence on his work. He liked the fact that the characters seemed real and the show appealed to all ages. In 1960, the two would meet at a Puppeteers of America festival and become fast friends. Henson was always interested in puppeteers of all types. In 1985, he created a 6-part series called Jim Henson's World of Puppetry, where he shared the works of 6 of his favorite puppeteers from around the world. Jim Henson didn't like that in previous puppet shows, the puppets just seemed like props, not actual characters. He didn't like that puppetry on television was the same as stage puppetry just filmed. Henson got rid of the theater, realizing that he could use the television screen itself instead. He purposely designed the set so that only the puppets were filmed. There was no reason to hide behind obvious set pieces. Moving away from traditional hard materials, Henson created characters from soft materials such as felt, which made them much more expressive. He also had monitors installed so that he was able to see what he was doing with a puppet without being seen in the shot.
You know, when he took the puppetry off the stage and put it in front of the television, it was a strange and wonderful thing, and the power of puppetry started increasing at that point. And so much so that it's kind of the standard by which puppetry is measured these days, certainly television puppetry.
Although Jim did not create the original idea for Sesame Street, he had a huge impact on what was going to be on the show. His Muppets are what brought it to the nearly 50 successful seasons that it has today. He was asked about making Muppets for the show so it appealed to more children. The interaction of the Muppets and the people, which increased as the show progressed, is what really brought it to life. He's also a huge part of the overall mood of the show, voicing many of the iconic characters such as Kermit and Ernie. Not only does Sesame Street teach children basic knowledge of the alphabet and numbers, but also the concept of acceptance. All of their characters are treated as equals. This was especially important because the show first aired during the Civil Rights Movement. People were fighting for their own equality, and it was a hard topic to explain to children. Jim created a world where people, frogs, pigs, monsters, a 6-foot-tall bird, and whatever Gonzo is, all not only get along in spite of their different appearances, they actually like each other and care for each other. Even characters who are really odd or sort of annoying, like Oscar the Grouch, who liked garbage, or greedy, out-of-control Cookie Monster, all were treated with respect and good humor. Jim presented his view of the world without commenting on it or preaching about it, so sometimes these wonderful values are not noticed because people are just having fun watching the Muppets, and that's just the way Jim wanted it. Even with the huge success, Jim wanted to move on. He still came back to record segments for the show, but he had bigger ideas in mind. The familiar opening theme to The Muppet Show would never have been cemented into so many children's heads if it hadn't been for the success of Jim Henson's Muppets and Sesame Street. It was a variety show based solely on the Muppets, with a new guest star every episode. It was one of the first full-length TV shows that not only featured but almost exclusively starred puppets. Although Sesame Street was a huge success, Jim didn't want to be tied down to being a kids' act. He tried to make the Muppets Show for all ages, not just preschoolers and young children. It was hugely popular not just in the United States but all over the world. Once again, Jim's mind was going in another direction, this time to the big screen.
Why are there so many songs?
Not only was it the first time Muppets or any other type of puppet were the main focus of a blockbuster film, but the debut of them being outside of a studio or stage. Many other Muppet movies were made, such as Muppets Take Manhattan and The Great Muppet Caper, but nothing was ever as iconic as Kermit traveling across the country, meeting new friends, and all working together to reach stardom in Hollywood.
This is something that we're waiting to see from the audience. I think if the audience wants these characters to continue to live, they will.
You died? But we were just starting to get to know him.
Perhaps the substance of Jim Henson's genius was the ability to see wonder far off in crazy directions and get people to follow him there. Roberta Moran, Dover Plains, New York.
Dear Kermit, I hope you feel better. I will miss Jim Henson too. I hope this letter makes you feel better. I love you. Bridget Kerwin, Peabody, Massachusetts.
You know, Mr. Henson was a very good, talented teacher. He will never be dead in my heart. Elizabeth Nicola Edelman, Mountain Lakes, New Jersey.
While falling asleep that night, our 5-year-old daughter Blair said, "It's a good thing there are people who can do Jim Henson's job. He'll be with us every time we watch the Muppets. He'll be able to see them from heaven." The Reeser family, Las Vegas, Nevada.
We will miss you, Jim Henson.
People at the memorial were amazed by it. His favorite songs were sung not only by his close friends and co-workers, but by the Muppets he created. An attendant of the memorial said that the most amazing thing was that the service was open to the public and the seats and aisles were filled with fans. The most touching thing to me was to see that so many parents holding small children who were in turn clutching their Ernies or Kermits in their little arms. He had not only touched the lives of those who knew him, but everyone who had watched his movies or television shows, listened to the soundtracks, or even had the pleasure of working with him. Jim Henson truly was an inspiring man that the world cared about. He was only 53 when he passed away. It is such a heart-wrenching truth that even someone who did as much as Jim will one day stop creating the characters and stories that we hold dear. However, his work has been continued by his company in the 25 years since he passed, and with any hope they will continue for many years to come.
We're trying to get the old gang back together again.
We haven't done this in a long time.
Your fans never left you. The world hasn't forgotten. Sure, it's impossible, but we've got to try. It's time to play the music.
It's time to light the lights.
Even after Jim Henson's death, there were many new Muppet movies such as Muppet Treasure Island and Muppets from Space. The Muppets, the 2011 film, is very much like the original Muppet movie in the way that Kermit is trying to bring everyone together to help raise money for their show. The characters are only slightly different from Jim's portrayal of them, but still show the original characteristics he gave them over 50 years earlier.
You know, he'll be remembered as a visionary, and that, you know, puppetry just happened to be the medium that he worked in.
The Jim Henson Legacy was created in 1993 by his wife, Jane Henson, and his children. The organization preserves and continues Jim Henson's contributions to puppetry, television, movies, and special effects. Jim's work is accessible by the public through presentations and museum exhibits throughout the world. It highlights the work he did and how it affected the puppeteers after. Jim Henson and his creations are loved by children and adults throughout the world. During his lifetime, he was the founder of the Jim Henson Company and worked on countless movies and television shows. During his time in entertainment, he affected so many people and inspired many more. His characters are timeless and many have lasted for over 50 years. In his journal, Jim wrote, "When I was young, my ambition was to be one of the people who make a difference in this world. My hope is to leave the world a little better for having been there." He did, and it is what he is remembered for now and for years to come.
Life's like a movie, write your own ending, keep believing, keep pretending, we've done just what we set out to do.